gonna say I might need a bigger spalling hammer. With some good thickness right there. Peeled that off. Good little birdie flake. Okay, then these edges, I break these little fine edges off before I do like the next strike, just to thicken it, because it does like a hollow bubble percussion behind there, and then you can collapse your platform if you don't stiffen that edge. So let's try to do another one. There we go. It's a real nice ball. Really nice arrowhead flake. Can't get any better than that. Get a flake out of it and get something useful that you can turn an arrowhead into. There's another thinner chicken dinner. This angle's a little kind of a 90 angle. I don't like it as much, but try to strike more down than into it to prevent a hinge. There we go, a little razor blade. Cool, she's starting to thin down, guys. Ah, that flake broke up. Look at the triple flow, man. That's a total see-through. Beautiful stuff. Try to pick some of these more pointy ones. The flat ones are more okay, but don't want my doggies to come running over and then step on it. Alright, where else? Man, this is kind of like a 90 degree. See that? How when I set the piece down, it's 90, and striking into a 90 degree is you can cause hinges, but I have to thin that out. See how this angle here has the angle, so I can maybe try to like peel this big ridge off, maybe from right here on this side. See what happens. Damn, it kind of broke. It tried to follow that ridge, but it did break off, but that was still a nice flake. Okay, let's see where else. Here's a little ridge. I got some of that off. Ooh, that's sharp stuff, man. Look at that little clear triple flow. Cool stuff, man. Okay, I'm getting this down to a workable piece. It's getting closer and closer. Alright, let's try something here. I don't know. I'm going to try to do more of a glancing blow straight down. Change the angle myself, because it's a 90, and if you strike right into the 90, it's going to hinge out. But I'm hoping if I lean it back, kind of create my own angle, and then strike more down like a guillotine, maybe this chunk will go. Yep, see, that's what happens. You hit into a 90, and look at that bulb of percussion. I mean, I don't know what the heck. That was gnarly. It did help thin it, but whew, that broke strange. So yeah, the angles have to be right. There's proof right there. absolutely did a big old bulb, and that went in there pretty deep, so luckily there's enough width here. I think I'll be able to save it, but kind of boo-booed myself right there, man. But when you got these asteroids, that's kind of all you can do is try to thin it down. Uh-oh. That piece was already there. It just didn't release from last time. That was cool. So one of the strikes I did loosened that, so that's nice. Okay. I've got this edge here. This isn't going to run far because it dishes out in here, so it's probably only going to run to right there, but it'll help thin the edge at least. Ugh. That kind of dished in there too. Damn it. Okay, now let's look at this piece. Base point, maybe? And that is a thick bulbous tip there. Hey, Beavis, that's what she said. You. There we go. That was a thinner chicken dinner. There we go. Now we're talking. Now we're cooking with grease, like they say. Alright, let's try with my little paddle thing to get all these square edges off. But at least I got it. Oh, no, buddy. This is bad. No. Shh, get out of here. No, this is bad. They don't care that I'm out here doing this. They just go, oh, the dogs want out, let's let them out. But they're going to get into this stuff when I'm out here. Nobody, this is bad stuff. See, I knew better. That's why I picked up that rock, those big pieces when I did, because if they come running over here and step on it, poor guys, I don't want them to get hurt. What in the hell did that dog get on me? Nasty slobber. Alright. So see how I was able to keep most of that biface and shave off the sides of it and keep the center mass? There's some gnarly hinges in there because I used a hard hammer percussor, and it does those bigger bulbs of percussion, and it kind of leaves a mess. So if you just work the edge and get those thin pieces down, you can shave some of that off and kind of even the surface a little bit. See how I was able to fix some of that and make it a little bit more. This is messy right now, but I'll get it. Just slow and low. Patience. trying to do is nip those square edges, make an angle so that you have something to hit, and you can nip the other side off. It's just called the old zigzag. Ooh, that one zigzagged into a hinge that's already there. Didn't like it. It stopped right at that. So I need to build this side up and shoot that across. Don't shoot any more flakes into that hinge. They'll just hinge out even deeper and cause a major issue. So I need to raise the platform maybe in this corner and shoot one up here and thin that out. So I'm literally going to do that right here. Raise that up. All you're doing is moving the platform that used to be way out here. Now it's moved over here and it's closer to this side so that I can strike there and peel that off. So just a little bit more. Okay, let's do some tater chips. Alright, this is a big strike, so wish me luck, guys. Ooh, there's almost like a crack in there. Uh-oh, that didn't, no, that kind of worked. At least I got a working edge there. Wasn't a very good flake though. Kind of crunched and munched on me. Buddy, this is bad, stay away. Go. Not trying to be mean, I'll play with you in a little while. Okay, this platform already leans at this side and I can kind of even and thin that face, so might as well use the natural platforms that are already there so I don't lose more width and more surface area. Tater chip, clear, clear, clear. Do another one. Ooh, doggies. Clear, 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 but it hinged right there, so I'm gonna have to get it from the other side. I think I have no choice but to raise this up and lose a little bit of length on that. Luckily, it's the corner anyway, so let me go ahead and do that. And I'm hoping raising that just to right there over, I can get some of that thickness off. Let me do just a tiny bit more. Okay, let's grind the piss out of it. Got kind of a mess right now, but I think I can get through it. Side's messy, messy, messy. So you can see how I move that platform to here to try to get some of that off. Then I'm going to hold the angle more up, the piece more vertical, so that I'm more driving a flake into it instead of a vertical just striking down. I'm going to try to add a little bit of that angle. See how I nipped that thick part off? Peeled it off just perfectly. That's much, much smoother. Now if we get one more good one right here, eventually we're going to be golden. Now I need to do, this is going to be the tip, so I can afford to raise that up, lose some of that width, and then try to strike that thickness off. So let's do that. again, raise that platform over to this side, the side you're trying to. I'm not a spalling expert or flint knapping expert. I just, some of the stuff that helped me, I want to show you guys. So if any of the newer nappers are on here, the angles make sense, because I don't see a lot of the nappers really kind of describing what they're doing. A lot of them just bang them out, and then it doesn't help, or they don't really know how you got to that point. See, so moving that platform towards that side, you can see how I struck in, not right barely on the edge, but that time I went in a little bit, and you can see the breaking point, and then you can see what a nice flake it took off. Totally took that hump off. Now if we do another one from the base into this hinge, that'll come right off. Buddy, this is bad. Look out. Can't be stepping in this. No. I love you. I'll play with you here in a little while. Come over here. You can get some pets over on this side, okay? Pets, pets, pets. Okay, pets. Hi. I know. I miss you too, guy. But we'll play right now, okay? Stay over there. Look out. This is bad. No, no, no. Look out. This is bad. No, no, no. You guys, this is bad. Look out. Psh, psh, come over here. Okay, now let's figure this out. This is the tip. Let's take some of that corner off. Okay guys, so I stopped the video right here, put it in slow motion, pause frame, so I could kind of see why my biface broke right here. You can clearly see in the picture here that I screenshotted too much mass of that more bulbous tip that hasn't been worked down is hanging off the edge, and it's not supported with one of the fingers. It's just kind of like hanging off my hand. So I think that's why a lot of the guys do the lap napping to support the piece, but I've always learned freehand. So anyway, that's just something I've learned from watching some of the master nappers, to always, you can't have that much weight kind of just hanging out suspended on its own. So it was a lesson learned here. We'll try to make sure I support it more, and I still got a biface out of half the piece, but figured it might help somebody, so not afraid to show the failures too. This is the tip. Let's take some of that corner off. Shit. I didn't support it, I don't think. I must have had an internal fracture. Yeah, right, it broke right where that hinge went to. So, son of a bitch, all that work, man. I still have a nice piece to make something, but man, the hopes of a big old blade are kind of gone now. No sense in crying about it. I already did it. The good old end shock will get you every time if it's not supported well. I think that's why a lot of people do the leg napping, because it kind of helps support the piece a little bit more. But man, I only learned freehand, so if I'm going to be doing freehand like that, then I need to learn to support the pieces a little bit better, or that's going to happen. Let's save this, guys. This is the size of the Arizona spalls that I'm used to working down. The doggos just ate, okay? can't believe I broke that big beautiful spall. It broke right at that hinge too. I nipped too much of the length off right there. Maybe I can get like a Snyder or something out of this. That was a boo-boo. Man, that sucks when you break a big old giant piece like that. So what's longer, that or that? That's the width of my bumper. Shorter. I think it's actually longer that way. Man, I was proud of reducing that asteroid down too. And then you get to that point and kind of break it, and that sucks. Okay, let's get some thinner chicken dinners right here. I'm running out of real estate. How crunchy and nasty that piece, and it's totally smoothed it out. It's like golf. You have to reset and think when you do something bad and just try to focus and not think about it, because it'll really affect your mental. I notice when I get mad that flint napping and do something dumb, then it's hard to focus and I don't nap as good after it. So it's either be pissed or just move on and try to see, either save the piece or do another one. If you ain't breaking, you're not learning. Okay, that one has a nice ridge to follow, so I'm hoping that'll be a good little pupper. Yep. Very nice. That really thinned that down nice. Look off of the, this is what's cool about trying to be careful when you're spalling that stuff, and don't just go all crazy. Look at all these arrowhead flakes that came off of just that piece, so I'll be able to make something out of all those. So that's the good news, is yeah, it's wasteful. The flint napping process is wasteful. You're thinning it down, but if you do it right, you can end up with some nice usable arrowhead spalls, and that's the whole goal. But I went from a 6-inch blade to a little 3-inch blade. That's the whole key, is get all that crunchiness off the surface so that you have a smoother working surface, and then the pressure flakes will go a lot smoother if you have a nice soft surface instead of a big old wavy nasty surface. Still don't know if this is going to be the tip, or I'm guessing that, but I could also do that too. It was almost like a fluting flake. That was super cool. Right down the pipe. Thin that down a lot. That helps so much. Right now I'm just kind of using the natural platforms that are already there, and then look at places that are high behind it and see if it's an opportunity to thin without building the platform and losing more of the size. Especially since I already... that crumbled. I got some of it, and that really crushed right there. So what I'm going to do is strengthen that edge again and try to get behind it. Man, I kind of screwed that up. Let's see if we can save it. Let's see if we can save it. I hit up here and the freaking ring crack went down there. What the hell? Must have been a lot of shock to bust out a piece where you're not striking. Well, that answers it. It's got to get narrow now because of that ring crack, so that's going to be the point. So I might as well nip that off. Nip this off. You get used to banging on some of that Texas rock in Georgetown and some of those other things, man. This is a whole nother ball game. You just can't pound away on it. Let's see what time it is, guys. I'm on lunch, so. Okay, I got 15 minutes left on my lunch hour. I'd rather nap on my lunch and eat at my desk any day. A little thick knob right there, so hopefully that'll come off. Let's try to take a little light one that way. So if you're gentle with it, you can thin even a little tiny tip like that. Okay, I'll try to do the rest with indirect, maybe a tiny little one right there. It's curved now. See how that little tip has a little curve to it? Let's leave that alone and focus on this. It's a super nice thinner. Man, it'd be cool to get like a Snyder's or a wide point. I keep breaking the corners off and ending up with more narrow points, so I'd sure like to get a wider point. Good convexity, man, on this side so far. Got a high spot here. Let's try to nip that while we're at it. See that little high spot, that bump? Look at that. Just a little peeler. Another little peeler. Another little peeler. That's why I like napping without gloves a lot of times, because the feel on those little tiny precise shots is like so much better. But man, this real high glassy obsidian, not the local stuff that I nap that's a little more grainy, it's just too sharp, man. You can cut yourself good. So okay, here's a spot. There we go. Took that thick spot off. Tip's bothering me, but don't let the OCD get you, bro. Just leave it. Work that out with indirect or pressure. Just leave it alone. Kind of around the edges so I can go for more of that Snyder's look. Yeah, buddy, little peeler. One more right here. Little peeler. Cool. So I break a lot of points when I leave the back thick, but you're supposed to thin the base and the tips first and leave the center a little thicker, because then that's like a breaking point. And I keep doing that and I don't follow my rules sometimes, and so the base is a little thicker here. So Jay Wilderness Quest Outdoors showed me that on these basil flakes that tend to shock the piece pretty good, do some of those strikes in more at an angle instead of straight in like a flute flake, and they tend to not break as much. So that's helped me quite a bit. Like that. Look at that. That thing went in at an angle and took that whole nice piece off. Look at that. 2 flakes and just totally thin down that whole side. There's like a big old deep hinge crack thing there, so I'm going to have to be super careful. If I send another one into there, I could break it. I'm going to have to do one sideways maybe into it. Back. Okay, instead of shooting right into that, I'm going to angle this one here and just try to take some of the thickness off. It's coming, guys. That's a crunchy back there. pretty high spot right here. So I'm gonna try to peel that off. It worked, but it went in and hinged right there. I didn't want to go through that. With indirect, I can get that little high spot off. I don't want to risk breaking it. There we go. Got that little high spot off. Damn it, what did I do here? That's terrible. Luckily, the corners can be round for like Snyder's type points. Alright, percussion stage almost complete. Okay, I got a nice little platform here. I might be able to get this chunk off. Man, the mosquitoes are out again. Whew. Look at that. Peeled her right off that super thick chunky spot right there. That little corner peeler. I got that one that dished out a tiny bit right there. Kind of fix that. Another nice little peeler. Alright, one little high spot here, and then this biface is done, and we can move on to pressure flick for later. Sometimes if the platform doesn't look right, I'll go ahead and, it's not cheating, but I'll just stop what I'm doing. Pressure flick the edge of the spot, like I've got this bump. But if you look here, the platform's curling over to that side. That's not an optimal spot to hit right there to try to take that off. So what I'll do is I'll get my pressure pad, work that spot a little bit, which is like correcting that edge basically. Okay, I'll grind it. And then now that that's correct, that should take a percussion flake, just a baby light strike. Look at that. Peeled her right off. Super nice. Got one more chunky spot here, but I think an indirect. So let me go ahead and pressure flake the tip because my OCD gets me, and then I take a smack with it with the indirect or with the direct percussion, and that's a big mistake out here on the tip. I see my little antler tip broke, so I gotta grind it smooth. Like night and day. Clean that up quite a bit. Okay guys, there's my percussion. Part 2 later we'll be finishing this thing up, and I'm going to try to do like a corner notch, almost like a Snyder's point. I still got a decent little piece out of that. Too bad I broke the really big spall, but hey, still got something out of it. So it's a pretty good size. It's like the size of my whole billet, so not bad.